come once again to discuss things.
Moving on.
Let's go ahead and get started then. Oh, hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Geeky Gentlemen. I am Sid Partu. Joining me once again is Rasco. Hello, Rasco.
Hello.
So we are continuing our fan film reviews with a fan film that I had not seen. I just happened to know of it because I came across it one time. We're reviewing Deadpool, Black Panther, Back in Red and Black.
Yep.
So I guess before we get to the movie itself, are you a Deadpool and or Black Panther fan at all?
I'm, I guess what you would say, like a casual fan of both. I like Deadpool and I like Black Panther, and I know that I like both of them. I know enough about them to know that I like them, but I'm not like a huge avid fan that's like crazy in love with either of them.
Yeah, I'm probably a little more than you a fan of each character. Like, I have a lot of friends who love Deadpool, and Black Panther's just always been really cool to me, and I've kind of fell in love with the character to some extent when watching the Marvel Knights animated series a couple years back when that came out,
Yeah.
and that was really cool, and so that kind of made me really like Black Panther, and I'm really excited to see him in this, in the new Captain America movie, and I'm kind of mad at Spider-Man for taking Black Panther's movie spot, but what can you do? That's just how it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, the fan film itself, why don't you go ahead and get us started with just initial thoughts?
Okay, so going into this, I had no idea what to expect. I thought Black Panther, Deadpool, okay, that sounds kind of interesting. Let's go. I start watching this, and this is the most confusing movie in terms of quality.
Right?
It is, at some points, like hilarious and actually pretty good. And then at some points, so laughably bad that I just don't have words to describe.
Right, it is so inconsistent. Like, the film quality looks amazing, and some of the acting is actually pretty good. And then the audio quality throughout is, so varied.
Yeah,
like sometimes the audio sounds great, other times it's awful.
Yeah, especially when it shows the missionaries in, their prison cell.
Yeah.
It's that guy's, on a webcam recording his audio. That guy's going through a webcam.
It's so weird how inconsistent the audio quality and some of the fight choreography quality is.
Because the first Deadpool fight where he fights those guys after he walked up with the noodle and he was pretending it was his penis, after that fight was terrible. But the ending Black Panther fight was awesome.
Are you talking about the very end of the
very end when Black Panther just has the one-on-one?
Yeah,
there was pretty good.
Yeah, that one was completely random, though, and had nothing to do with anything else.
Yeah, but that fight was completely pointless. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It is so head-scratching to me. This is such a neat idea to put these two together, and ultimately I don't mind the premise that sets off the story. I'm a little uncomfortable with how cool Black Panther is with killing. I guess just kind of that Marvel universe thing, Marvel Cinematic Universe thing, where it's just, oh yeah, killing's okay, but our heroes don't really make that big a deal out of it, but they're not murderers.
Yeah,
and
it's they have different they have a background where they don't come at it from the same angle, especially someone like Captain America. Mm-hmm. You're not a soldier working for the military thinking of it as whether or not killing is just or not, because you're being commissioned in a way to do such a thing, and it's a little bit of a different thing in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, but in here, Black Panther is just killing regardless.
Yeah.
He just doesn't care.
I think that all kind of stems from the fact that this is not very well written, except for sometimes Deadpool.
I don't know if I'd agree with that. Like, I think there are parts of it that the writing's actually kind of clever. And then there are other parts where I think a lot of the dialogue's written well. I don't think it's well plotted, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but there are some times where I'm like, oh god, like when Black Panther first comes in to save the missionaries, the girl's like,
yeah.
he's an Avenger. He's here to save us. We're safe now. Like, it's such like, oh my god. Like,
that and when the missionaries pick up the guns. Oh my god, that was so awkward to me.
Yeah.
I don't know, I agree though. The writing isn't very good, but some of the dialogue's pretty well done.
Yeah, Deadpool says some really funny things in this. And there are moments when Deadpool is hilarious.
Yeah, like I like the he has that plan with Black Panther, and then they get caught, and they got guns pointing at him. He's like, Black Panther, this was a terrible plan. That was really good. But yeah, there's some of the dialogue's really, really sharp. Not even just from Deadpool. Like, I like a lot of what the villain guy is saying. Like, some of his stuff just really works until he randomly dies, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it was kind of weird because it was like the really extreme parts were done well and the really non-extreme parts were done poorly. Like, the normal character, random, normal, missionary, normal people dialogue sounds terrible. It's only, like, the characters that have, like, extreme personalities where, like, they actually give them some voice.
Yeah. I feel bad because normally I'm a lot easier on fan films just because, you know, there's so much more that goes into them than people give them credit for. And, like, the quality of this just looks amazing. Like, that's the one thing consistent. The look of it looks great all the way through. I have a feeling this was done by, like, students that are in film school, but none of the, like, they don't have any friends that are in the script and screenwriting department, you know?
Yeah, potentially. I think that, it's, with this one, the thing is, it has so much potential and there's so much effort that clearly went into it. It's almost like it's a shame that it's not better than it is. It's like, I don't want to say like, oh, your fan film sucked ass because like you were doomed from the, no, like there's clear effort. It wasn't like they didn't try. It's just that there's a lot of you know, extras and like shooting and stuff like that in this, which is like really impressive. Some that's not, like the Stark Industries building, like room, that was terrible. But other than that, like there are parts in this where like you're seeing like actual production value. I know that there's not really money going into this. Really, I looked it up. I think it was like literally like $1,000 budget or something ridiculous like that. Like this had no budget.
Yeah. If I had to guess, I'd say most of the budget probably went into costuming.
Yeah, I imagine.
Black Panther's costume doesn't look amazing, but for a fan film, that's pretty damn good, especially since they're out in the day. Deadpool, my only problem with Deadpool's costume is that the swords hang really low. But otherwise, I really like Deadpool's costume, too.
Also, maybe I'm crazy, and I don't mean to be mean, but the guy who was playing Deadpool was kind of not in shape enough to play Deadpool. Sorry, I'm just gonna say it. Like, I mean...
It's one of those things that really varies depending on how many Deadpool fan films you watch, because there'll be like, I don't know if you've ever seen any of the Deadpool fan films by Michael Galusic.
Nope.
But those are really well written, and the production quality, you know, they get better as they go on. But he is... Oh, it's not pleasant to see that dude running around in spandex, let me just put it that way. He's not like super fat or anything, he's just like, you know, kind of a chunky guy. And so, you know, it does not look like a superhero.
That's hilarious.
It's one of those things, man. Fan films, the costume looks pretty good. I think once he puts on like the armor thing, they give him a little costume change montage. I think it looks better. Would you agree that he fits the part better at that point?
Potentially, but the thing about those is I was like, when I look at those, I'm just like, those are like football pads. That's all I see when I look at that.
I don't know. That didn't really bother me. Like, I liked the thing on Black Panther's back. I thought that looked cool. My only problem with Black Panther was the eyes seemed a little odd. I couldn't figure out what was going on with those.
Were they different sizes at different points?
I don't know.
I swear when you
just
first see Black Panther's eyes are way smaller.
Well, like, I think it's just the angle that it was shot at. Or the angle the actor had his head at, you know? Because one eye always looked bigger to me, but I can't imagine that it was... Like, I can't imagine that they made a mistake of that magnitude when designing the thing, if that makes sense. Like, I could totally believe that they're designing this mask and maybe one eye is slightly larger, but not unless you really look at it. So I have to imagine that it looked somewhat symmetrical in their hands. It just came off weird the way they shot it.
Yeah, potentially. It's a thing where, like, I feel like one of the hardest aspects of a superhero fan film is just the costume.
This is very symptomatic, and it's weird because it shouldn't be. But this is very symptomatic of something that's really consistent throughout fan films, which is, and I hate to say it, but it's over-ambition.
Yeah.
Like, I like the costumes, they're really good, and I like the location shooting, and I like a lot of what they do in this, but the story, oddly enough, doesn't work. So it's like they had the ambition to go out and get all this stuff ready to go for the shooting of the fan film, but they didn't have a story to fit it, so they had to kind of like write a story around their locations and around what they had available.
Yeah, and the thing about fan films and just like short films, just little independent, like little short films, the equivalent of a fan film, just not like a fan film. It's like an original, just little.
Yeah.
The thing about those is that so often those are under ambitious. I've seen so many where it's. I watched one fan film and it was about like a transgender girl, or it was a transgender male. So, girl now identifies as a male, and the fan film was just like a scene, and it wasn't like a short film. It wasn't like a complete little thing. It was like not even a thing. Like you see you see him getting ready in his room, going to dinner with his family, getting in a fight and like leaving and being depressed. And it was like, it's well written and shot, but this is not a story really. Like, this isn't a short film.
Yeah, it's a scene in a movie.
Yeah, or short films will do like these really weird, abstract, not really full narrative things. Where, I don't know. It's really weird. Short films have the opposite problem where they don't get ambitious enough. And then fan films have the issue where it's the complete opposite. They try to do way too much. And you can do things like The Killing Joke is almost a completely achievable fan film.
Yeah, your only problem there is the roller coaster scene.
Yeah, that would be about it. Other than that, it's really achievable. You can't think of, I gotta make this big and awesome, because here's the thing. Your fan film, you shouldn't try to win people over on the fact that you're gonna have great action and CG and effects and stuff like that. That's not, because a big studio film's always going to do that better than you. That's not where you need to be putting your eggs. That's not the basket you need to be putting your eggs in. What you need to be doing is telling the kinds of stories that are really interesting and would be awesome to see on screen, but a big studio would never put the time into to produce.
I think since a lot of fan films come from comics, particularly when we talk superhero stuff, since a lot of fan films are inspired by comics, I think part of where the overambition comes from is trying to do things that we've seen on page. And the interesting thing about the medium of comic books is there's no budget, right? Not in the way that you would think of for a film. It's like, oh, well, Tony Stark crashes into this skyscraper and it collapses to the ground.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, do we go collapse an actual skyscraper, or do we have to pay an animator to model and then animate a skyscraper collapsing? It's like, no, we just have the artist draw the skyscraper 3 times. One where it's fine, one where Tony Stark crashes into it, and one where it's collapsed.
Yeah.
There you go. So I think that's where just there's no budget in comic books, because anything that someone can draw, they can bring to the page. So anything that you can come up with in your head to write down, they can do. But once you get to fan films, it's just the resources are so limited. But this thing almost doesn't have that. The costumes, while they have their problems, aren't really bad. They I wouldn't see a movie wearing this, but this is like something, if I saw someone wearing this at a con, I'd want to get a picture with, right?
Yeah, but here, also the thing is, sometimes fan films come from people that aren't and this is kind of a weird thing. Sometimes people who make fan films aren't necessarily want to be. They're not like trying to be filmmakers. They just really like comics, and they're going to make a fan film because they like superheroes, and they like superhero movies and superhero stories. So they're not necessarily filmmakers. So oftentimes they're not skilled necessarily in like the art of filmmaking, and you get cases where maybe these costumes could look even better, and it wouldn't even be a question depending on how you shot them, how the lighting was. Like, there are ways around dealing with this kind of stuff. And it's a thing where, like, I don't know anything about the people who made this. That's the interesting thing. I always think it's really interesting just to listen to people who made the actual fan film or independent film. Really interesting, like, if you ever listen to Christopher Nolan talk about when he made his first short film, which was called, well, it wasn't his first short film, it was his first, I guess, actual film called Falling.
Oh yeah, Following's an interesting movie.
If you listen to him talk about how he made that, how you construct a story around a no budget, like, it's really, really interesting. And I think that's the kind of stuff people need to watch when they're like thinking about making fan films. Watch other people who made stuff with zero money talk about how they did it. The people that produced good stuff with zero money. Look at watch things where they talk about it. And the thing is you have to write the script keeping in mind that you don't have a budget. You can't just like write it and then be like, oh, how do we do this? And then slowly start taking things out. You have to think in terms of the budget has to affect what you're thinking about when you're writing the script.
Yeah, and that's how I went about when I was making my movie, is like, what are we capable of? And that's actually how I taught myself to edit, is I wanted to do X, Y, and Z I'll give an example. I wanted to have someone pull out a lightsaber on screen. And as we were getting ready to write that scene, or as we were in the middle of writing that scene, my friend Bobby, who helped me write the script, looks at me and he goes, do you think you'll be able to get a lightsaber and edit that in and stuff? I'm like, I'll learn. Because I just so wanted it, So I think you need to write within your means, but you also need to be willing to know where you're gonna. You need to be willing to learn along the way too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a matter of, the thing about fan films is oftentimes you may have you have to kind of learn more than you do. Like someone working on a huge budget production doesn't have to know the intricacies of how cameras work, how sound guys work, how any of that works. All they need to know is how to explain their vision so other people can do that for them. When you're working on fan films, it's a different thing and Christopher Nolan also talks about this, in that when you don't necessarily work on a big budget film or something like that, you learn more about how every aspect of making a movie works. So you have to kind of know how lighting works, how sound works, how cameras generally work in a fan film scenario. You have to know that stuff. You have to be willing to learn that. And that's really valuable information moving on, because then that's how you know what you're capable of the next time, is when you've learned a little bit about everything. Then you know what you're capable of next time around.
Oh, certainly, and like it's really interesting to look at how fan films will evolve as creators continue to do more and more of them. I think a good go-to example is Bat and the Sun, who are now really popular for the superhero beatdown series, but they started out with things like Batman Legends and what?
City of Scars? Didn't they do that too?
That was actually quite a while into their career. They started out with Batman Legends, which was just kind of like, it was like a 5-minute, and it was cut to make it look like a trailer, but it was like just all these iconic moments from Batman's history, basically, just put on film. And then they did like Patient J, which is a Joker fan film that I still really like, and it's just the Joker talking about different parts of his life to people. So that was pretty cool. It's a weird thing that it all kind of came out around the same time. You have Joker Blog's Patient J and Call Me Mr. J. All are about like the Joker being interviewed in prison. It's so weird that they all like kind of developed independently.
And that's the thing. Like that's a very achievable thing to do in fan film. That's the kind of stuff that people need to invest their time in with fan films.
Yeah. But getting back to this as a whole, I don't know. There's so many. I have such a diverse feeling on this because like it seems like everything I like, everything I want to point to is, oh, wasn't that cool? There's an immediate counterexample. To like, well, isn't it shot well? Yeah, but except when they're running around or when they're like huddled together, you just get someone's leg in front of the frame for like 30 seconds.
Or, like, Black Panther is not in the frame with... like, Black Panther's standing, like, behind the cameraman. And, like, Deadpool's in front of the cameraman, and Deadpool's talking to Black Panther, and he's not even in the frame. And you're like, well, who is he talking to?
Yeah, and I mean, it's very obvious that everyone was dubbed in, and at times the dub actually sounds good. And then at other times, no. No, it doesn't. Like, Deadpool, his voice... the sound of his voice, or the volume of his voice, is so inconsistent.
And sometimes it's like he's like, you can hear the echo of his like room that he's in recording the audio.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh god.
I really hate to tear into something like this, especially overall, it's better than anything I've done.
Yeah, it's okay. Here's the thing, though. These are the kind of things where some of my art teachers. They always kind of explain it like this. These kind of things are craftsmanship issues, and those are the worst kind of mistakes to have in any sort of art because those are things where it's not a matter of necessarily what you are capable of. It's a matter of, like, sloppiness, potentially. And that's where some of these things, like having Deadpool's voice be so inconsistent, that really sounds like it's a lot easier to fit. Like, it seems like they could have done better with that than they did. There are clear things where it's just kind of sloppiness. Like, you could have done it better a second if you just, like, thought about it a little bit more.
It sounds like they recorded everything in one go and then assumed that it would all work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even if it didn't sound like it was there, if it at least had been consistent in quality and sound quality and everything, that would have been fine, right?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe half of it was dubbed in and half of it was recorded on set.
Yeah, but also I think maybe some of the extras or some of the people in this, they maybe like weren't around after in the editing stages of this, and like when they got to like, oh crap, this person talks, but the audio is terrible. Like they had to like get them to record their audio like over the phone or something like that. Like it literally sounds like at one point that one of the guys is talking like on Skype.
Yeah.
Just like through his webcam on Skype. And I'm like,
and who would want to listen to something like that? Sorry, that was too good an opportunity for that joke. No, yeah, I completely agree. And all right, so what's something that I guess consistently is not problematic in this? Like, what is one thing that's consistently good throughout?
Consistently good. Okay. That's the thing.
I'm tempted to say the blood work. I thought, like, when people were shot or, like, cut and the blood would fall or whatever, I thought that looked pretty good consistently.
It's weird because that's kind of maybe, but also at the same time, though, the thing is, it's like, I feel like nothing about this is consistently good or bad all the way through. Like, nothing that I hated, like, I hated how the fights and everything was choreographed and edited and directed, and then there was times where I was like, well, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, like when Deadpool goes in
there were
and
times
kills all...
where I was like, wow, that was good. And then there were times the things I was kind of liking were awful. I was like, oh. Nothing about this was consistent all the way through. It's really weird. Which is better than being consistently bad. It's much better.
I wonder if they maybe were learning on the go, and like this probably wasn't shot in sequence, right?
Probably not. I think that well, maybe it was, because it is very poorly directed. Like I said, watch the Deadpool fight where he kills all the guys, where he like walks up with a noodle penis. Watch that, and then just watch like some of the stuff in the end. It's completely different.
No, but like it before that though, it's a lot better with the scene with the guy talking about like when he makes the hostage tape, right?
Yeah, that could have been a thing where maybe, you know what? What if this was a case where like they like just filmed like one of those scenes, and then like we're like, hey, let's make a full fan film, and then like continued on after, and then like also added that on as like the beginning, and so like that could have potentially been like one of the last things they did.
No, I think it was probably all shot at once, or like all in one go, basically. But I think they shot like the stuff, the fight scene at the beginning, the very first fight scene. I think they shot that first because it gets consistently like the fighting improves throughout. Like when Deadpool gets shot in the head and the guy thinks he's dead, which I mean, kudos for a villain that actually, you know, kills the hostage that he just took, that is, you know, armed to the teeth. Kudos to that villain for thinking that he actually killed the guy. You know, you got to give him some credit there. Anyway, when he like kills up until when he kills Deadpool, that fight scene's actually pretty good. And then when Deadpool kills all the guys that are like gambling or whatever, that was pretty good. Then the missionaries like are just the worst part of this. I guess the thing that bothers me the most about the story is just that I don't like that Black Panther is saving white people that probably shouldn't be in Africa anyway. They just say like that's so a thing where like I can not that I couldn't see Black Panther saving a bunch of hostages even if they are Christians or whatever. I'm just like, yeah, he probably wouldn't put this up on his priority list, though.
Yeah,
like
let me save these white people from my terribly dangerous country. Let me save them from
yeah.
this country. Get out of
That's how I felt about it.
Land of violence and warlords.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was a little awkward. Because like it seemed like the guy was like I was really, really disappointed in this overall because it opened so damn well. Like, did you think that you were gonna like be in for a really good fan film after that like first two scenes with the hostages and stuff?
I was very shocked in how not up to par it was after that opening scene. Like, I didn't think that opening scene was great, but I was like, okay, this looks like it's gonna be like a not laughably bad fan film. Like, I'm gonna watch this and not laugh at any point because it looks or something was really done.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was on that level. And then immediately after that, I was like, no, it's not.
Oh, man. It's a hard thing to think about. Like, I always feel bad, because I never like to really be super harsh on things. There are times when I think something is just inexcusably bad, and it's okay to just tear it apart.
I like that with things where I know the people who made it don't care.
Yeah.
Like shitty comedies, like they don't give a fuck whoever made that.
Like that, and you know, Kong, King of the Apes is probably the worst thing ever. Oh god, that's painfully bad. What?
Anaconda 3 is really bad.
Yeah. So like when when it's just painfully bad, I don't mind ripping it apart. But when there's effort and there's clearly love put into it, I hate to be this negative. So I'm really trying to think of things that I like, but every time I try, it's just immediate counterpoint comes to mind. And I feel bad for that. I'm sorry if you guys are listening. I'm gonna link it because I feel like I should. But if the creator's listening, I'm sorry if this seems harsh or anything. I really do appreciate the effort, and I saw you guys made another one. I hope it's better. I may watch it. I don't know. I have to imagine that the quality that it got at least more consistent.
It must have. Okay, like it's gotta be.
I may watch that. I don't know. I'll see how I feel in a day or two. I don't know. And any other thoughts from you?
I guess I will just say the people who made this should keep making fan films.
Yeah, just keep at it. I mean, it was a pretty good effort overall. It just had a lot of stuff that was inconsistent in quality, but there was good quality in it. Here and there.
There's potential that they could make something better that could be just more. I think aim for more consistent, no matter what. Even if your next movie isn't great on a story level, if it's more consistently made on a technical level, that would be an improvement.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. Okay, let's go ahead and do a rating. I'm gonna give this 1.5 out of 5 noodle dicks.
1.5 out of 5 noodle dicks. Okay, so this is on a, it's on a 1 to 5 scale. God, see, I think I gotta go with I'll give it, I gotta give it like a 1.5. 1.5 inconsistent audio voices.
Cool. So Rasko, what are we reviewing for fan films next time?
Oh, God.
Oh, you didn't have one, did you?
Oh, man. Talk about something while I look up one. Actually, okay, here's one. What is the fan film, the Portal fan film that was directed? Dan Trachtenberg's Portal fan film.
Okay.
He's guy who directed 10 Cloverfield Lane. He directed this short fan film for Portal.
Cool.
So it's really easy to find. You'll find it.
Yeah, I'm sure I can just look up Portal fan film. It'll probably be the first thing. Okay, cool. Well, yeah, I'm sorry to just be so negative, but we had 2 fairly positive episodes back to back, so hopefully no one that listens to this is mad, and maybe go check out the thing on your own. Maybe you'll come away with more positive view than we did. Anyway, everyone, until next time, I'm the Philosopher.
And I'm the Squatch.
And we are your Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.